Hey guys, today's lesson is really important. It's on using new quizzes. The classic quizzes are going to go away eventually. Canvas has not announced when they're going away, but they do refer to it as they're going to sunset, which means they're going away. When that happens, anything you have made in a classic quiz is probably going to disappear. So you need to start transitioning to the new quizzes, and anything that you make, you really need to make as a new quiz. I hated new quizzes to begin with because it just wasn't as intuitive as the classic quizzes, but after doing a little bit of research on how to play with them and how to use them, I love them. You can do so many cool things, and I'm going to give you some demonstrations on that today. For me, the easiest way to do it is to go into a module, click your plus sign, and then click new or click quiz here, and then we're going to click create quiz. After create quiz, you've got choices between new quiz and classic quizzes. You want to start using the new quiz. So I'm going to call this demonstration. And you're going to take and put it wherever you want it to go. You can go ahead and put it in your assignment section you want. You can end it if you want. And you can click add item. All that is just like you've done in your classic quizzes. You're going to notice the new quiz has a solid rocket ship where the classic quiz had a hollow rocket ship. That's the way you tell the difference between them. After you've done that, you're going to click on demonstration, your quiz name, and now it's time to start adding some things. Now this right here is extremely important. From everything I have seen, if you do not put points in ahead of time, the points tab just disappears and you cannot go back and put points in. So put some number, it doesn't matter what it is as long as it's not 0, put some number in for points. So I'm going to say, let's call it 100 points as a starting point. And after that, everything else really doesn't matter right now. You can adjust your assignment group. You can decide, do you want to be percentage or complete, incomplete, anything of that nature you want. I generally just stick with points on everything I do, and I wouldn't even bother doing the assigning aspect of it until it's all done. Now from here, in the old quiz, you would click up on the top to start adding questions. That's not what we do. Now we're going to come down here to the right bottom and we're going to click build, and build is where you start adding your questions at. So my very first question, I'm sure you hear Tilly the cat screaming in the background. She likes to scream. So my very first question, I'm going to hit my plus sign, and then I'm going to choose what kind of question I want. So let's start off with categorization. I'm going to click that. I'm going to create a question stem or question title, which I just title mine as question 1 because I'm pretty darn simple that way. Question stem is what we call sort shapes by number of sides. Yeah, that's really good typing there, sport. From here, I'm going to make categories. I'm going to make, say, 3. And we're going to say category 4. And let's go ahead and add another category for category 5. For 3 sides, 4 sides, and 5 sides. So we could call this a triangle is going to be your 3 sides. On this 4 side, we could have a square. We could have a rectangle. We could have a rhombus. Yeah, I totally misspelled rhombus there. And then for 5 sides, we're going to take and have a pentagon. And that's enough for that. Now when we take and hit done here, and you got the things that you can add as well into it. You can create categories, but you can add things like a calculator to the screen if you want. You can add it to your item bank. Not worried about any of that right now. Right now I just want to show you the questions. I'm going to hit done, and now we're going to preview that first question. So now you can see the way they would do this. They would just take and grab triangle, drop it on triangle. For the 5, that's going to be pentagon, and for the others you can drag and drop all 3 of those into that. So that's an example of using categories. Let's take a look at something else. Now the next one we're going to try out is going to be using matching. Matching should be pretty intuitive as far as how you want it to go. So let's come up with a question here from number 2. And there we go. I set it up to say match the items with the corresponding color. And I've said what each of my items are. Yes, I did say blood. I know it's gross. Get over it. And colors to go with it. Once again, you can take and add an on-screen calculator, but you can also set it up to where it shuffles the question order so that every student that looks at it is going to have a different order of the questions. That is going to be nice to help deter cheating as they're glancing back and forth at each other's devices. I also forgot to mention earlier, you can assign the number of points for that, so let's call that a 10-point question, and let's see what it's going to look like. So now we're back on our preview. Sky is going to be blue, blood is going to be red, grass is going to be green, and the sun, that's going to be orange. Easy, no problem, very simple, very intuitive, and it's also these things are going to match up much better to the type of test the kids are going to see when they're taking the ACAP exams. Now multiple choice is pretty obvious, but the ordering works very cool as well, so let's take a quick look at that one. We'll call that number 3. So you can see I set up my question here where I have this question stem. It says to, whoops, I put that in the wrong place. That should be a 3 there. It says to order the teachers from coolest to least cool. I have a labels, and you can see to include labels or not. So on the top I have coolest, on the bottom I have not cool at all. We're only going to list 3 teachers here, and of course, I mean, it's obvious who's going to win this competition. So if we previewed this, it's going to come out something like this, and you just have to take and rearrange it. And of course, the proper range, Miss Gill, not cool at all. Mr. Prince, well, he's a little cool, but hey, who can beat Mr. Reitz on this one? Next question type is going to be essay. Now, essay, you have to grade. The computer will not grade this one for you. You have to grade it. You can set up things like rich text editors and spell check and things of that nature, but the questions themselves, you're going to have to go in and grade afterwards. So let's put in a question. So I have my question stem there. I can take and put in grading notes, which is going to be, I don't know, obviously everything. So if you need a clue on what you're going to be grading by there, we can of course add how many points it's in, and then let's take a look and see what that one would look like. And right here you can see, not sure why I got out of order, but you can see tell a story about the coolest teacher in the school, and it gives them a place where they can write in their answer using the rich text format if you want, colors and bolds and all that kind of cool stuff to go with it. Now the next one I'm going to show you is really cool. It is hotspot. So to do the hotspot, we're going to take and put in our question title, of course. This is number 5. Oops, where did it go? So I put in instructions, say find the hammer, and now I'm going to add in an image of tools. And then we're going to take and we're going to create a polygon here to show what we're looking at. So I'm going to kind of connect some dots here, and we're going to come down like that. And anything that is in that, whoops, didn't mean to do all that. I went too far. There you go. Anything that's inside that shape is going to be considered good. So to take that one, we're going to hit done on that, and let's see what it looks like. So now we're at the question. It says to find the hammer, and as long as we click on the hammer, we're going to be good. If you click anywhere else, say the saw is clearly not a hammer, so that's going to give you a bad answer. But as long as you click on a spot that was covered by your drawing, you're going to be good and you get credit for that answer. That's pretty cool. Now I saved the best for last, and that's going to be the fill in the blank. And I flat out love the fill in the blank because there's so many options you can have for it. So I'm going to create a little question here. We're going to call that number 6. There's other questions you can do, but this one here I really do like. So I have my question stem that says write 100 miles in 5 hours is a unit rate. And I have my answer here, which is listed as 10 miles per hour. And I'm going to use 4 fill in the blanks in that answer. And this is really cool how this works. So first I'm going to highlight the 10 and I'm going to click create blank space, and that's going to give you choices for what do you want. I want an exact match of 10. Oops, except 10 is not the right answer. Oops, let me fix that. That should be 20. Here I am, the math teacher. Create a blank space, has to be an exact match for 20. Next, I'm going to create another one. I double clicked on miles. I'm going to create a blank space. Only this time, instead of open entry, I'm going to set it up as a drop box. And my other choice is going to be hours. Get rid of option 3 here. Leave the per alone, and then I have the 1, create a blank space, and that's got to be exactly 1. And then finally hours, create a blank space again. This one I'm going to create a drop down on, and I'm going to call that mile and get rid of that. From here we're going to click done and then take a look at how this sucker looks. So that says write 100 miles within 5 hours as a unit rate. Your answer 20 what miles per 1 hour, and submit, and you're done. Of course, that one says I haven't answered all the other questions because they cleared out, but that gives you some examples of some wonderful things you can do with this new Quizzes version of Canvas. If you have questions, come see me. You did see there's other options of question types there as well. This is really very intuitive once you get to use it. Oh, I forgot to show you something else really important. When you're done building your quiz, you go into your settings. You can say, do you want to shuffle questions? Do you want to shuffle answers? Have your kids see the questions one at a time? Allow backtracking or not allow backtracking? Require a student access code. You can see what the access code is. You can put in a time limit, how long you want them to take. IP address filter, I wouldn't mess with that one. Allow a calculator or not. Allow multiple attempts. If you do allow multiple attempts, do you want them to have the highest score, the average score, the latest score, or the first score? How many attempts do you want them to have? Well, I think we're going to limit them to 3 attempts on it. And this is cool. Do you want them to have a timeout? So maybe require them to wait, I don't know, 30 minutes in between attempts so they can go back and study a little bit beforehand. And finally, restricting student views. You can say, for example, I like to say, okay, I'll show them how many points they got. I'll show them how many points were possible. And I will show them what their response was and whether their response was correct or incorrect. But I'm not going to give them the right answer. You also have options for moderating and reports here, but we're not going to go into detail on that. I think this video is plenty long enough as it is, and that should give you what you need to get started. Let me know if you have any questions.